Hi everybody, I'm Colette from Community Foundation and I'm delighted to be joined today by Mandy Barker, who is a trustee with Open Clasp Theatre, and she became a trustee via Trustee Match at Community Foundation. So I'd like to hand over straight away to Mandy to introduce yourself and to just tell us a little bit about what attracted you to trusteeship and particularly becoming a trustee with Open Clasp Theatre. So hi Mandy.
Hi, I'm Mandy. In my day job, I'm a designer by trade and I run a design studio called Sale Creative that's very activist led. And I've been doing that for 5 years and kind of built up a lot of experience around running a business and the mistakes that I've made. And I thought maybe I could go and share this by being a trustee, but I didn't really know what a trustee was. And I didn't know if I was the right person to be a trustee because I don't have the kind of academic values or the accounts experience or the legal experience that I would kind of associate with needing to have to be a trustee. And I got support from Community Foundation and found out a lot more about the holistic support and the other values that I can bring around my kind of activism and ethos, and also business experience and my business development and networking experience. So I soon got to understand that the word trustee is a bit of a biased perception in society, and that I almost felt like I had a responsibility to go in and be more of a younger trustee, be a woman, and part of the LGBTQ community. So I felt like I had a bit of a responsibility to push that diversity and join a role. I heard about Open Clasp. Again, I think we were introduced because of values. So Open Clasp were a theatre focused on feminism and the rights of women and girls. So lots of similar values, and the work they do supports raising the voices of women. It's very politically led. And I was really interested because of that. And it was quite a new world to me in theatre to be on the other side and be on the governance side within the organisation instead of just being an outward audience member. So I knew that I would learn a lot. So there was a number of reasons. Mainly, I felt like it was my duty to change the diversity of trusteeship. I wanted to support a political organisation and I wanted to learn more about governance in the creative cultural industry.
That's brilliant. And can you tell us a little bit about what the experience was in your first year? And it feels it's gone so quickly. What your first year experience has been specifically with Open Clasp Theatre? Did it meet your expectations? Was it what you expected? And just anything you particularly think maybe you've achieved in that time?
Yeah, I didn't really know what to expect, to be honest, because it was so new. But what I did beforehand is I had a couple of meetings with some individuals there so that I could ask any questions or concerns. I could raise any concerns and kind of alleviate them, because I was quite nervous about, will I be able to bring stuff to the role? What if I say something wrong? But I'd quickly learned that there's no right or wrong answer. The role of a trustee is to be curious and ask questions and provide a safe space for the organisation to discuss and debate, and for us to bring our perspectives as almost like, obviously we're internal members as a trustee, but we've got the outside perspective because we're not as close to the organisation as I am, say, with Sale, the studio that I run, that I'm in every day. So you do bring a bit of a slightly different perspective, even though you've got that, you're still very connected to the team. So yeah, the first thing is that I've connected with an amazing group of people at Open Clasp that have been really supportive and helped to alleviate any of my concerns. It has been a positive learning curve. There's been lots to learn around governance and kind of monitoring and reviewing and discussing with the team. But again, I've got a bit of a file that I'll keep for advice if I'm ever, not sure of my role when I first started, or I'd reach out to Community Foundation and ask for a call with them. So making sure I also had a buddy in the trustee role at Open Clasp that I've still got now, and I think that really helps, having that one-on-one discussion and conversation. And I also started the trusteeship with a group of other new trustees, so I didn't feel as kind of isolated. We were starting together. And we were made to feel really welcome and like that we didn't have to have all the answers, because we've got to admit no one has all the answers, but what we do have is that asking those questions I've learned a lot about the practicalities of the sector. I was actually put on the financial subgroup, which was terrifying because numbers have never been my strong point. But what I did bring, or what I do bring, is that kind of creative curiosity of, well, if you invest in this area, like your team and your people are everything. So it's thinking more about the holistic nature of numbers rather than just looking at the figures. And I also am glad that I was put in that subgroup because it's making me learn and share, my experience from running a business. So there is a lot of alignment, but yeah, I have had to learn quite a bit, but I've been in a really supportive environment. It's also been interesting being part of the role during lockdown. I've learned about lots of digital methods about theatre and how to get that out there, the importance of business partnerships and the importance of bringing different minds to the table. We've had lots of Zoom calls. It's been nice to have the informal ones where we've shared books and what books to buy and things like that. So we're building like a really nice relationship as well as professional. So it's nice to feel part of that community. And I haven't even met them in person yet, but I'm sure that's on the cards for November. So that'll be lovely. But yeah, I've learned lots, but it's been a safe, supportive environment, and it's nice to feel like I'm adding value.
Fantastic. And it sounds like you've had such a brilliant first experience, and I was particularly excited to link you with Open Clasp Theatre, and I'm just so pleased it's gone so well. And the learning that you talk about is so important, and that just continues and continues. And those questions as a new trustee are so critical in exactly what you're saying about the finance committee, the impact you will have had by asking the questions that other people may have stopped asking. Or just a different perspective that you bring because you're new. I think there's a real strength in being a new person on a team. It does take courage to ask those questions, but that's kind of a really important role at the very start of that experience. So I'm so pleased it's going so well. And what would you say to somebody who was thinking about becoming a trustee, or perhaps wants to learn more about trusteeship? What would you say to them to keep in mind as they start that journey and start exploring the opportunities that are out there?
I think just going back to what you were saying about, being a new trustee, it isn't about experience necessarily. It's about that energy and enthusiasm and bringing different values. Things are changing so quickly, and inclusion and diversity is more important than ever. Bringing different lenses, especially being, I'm not that young anymore, but being a younger generation trustee is, you bring in values that matter to young people in terms of diversity inclusion that organisations that might have been going 20 years might just be a bit lax on. So it's about positively challenging and asking questions around those holistic things that matter to you and bringing that energy and enthusiasm. And you don't necessarily have to ask them in the group either. It can be quite intimidating your first few meetings, but keeping in touch with people away from that group meeting is just as important. If you've got a question to ask that you don't want to ask in front of everyone at first, just email one of them or ask for a call. I've done that. And also, I've forgotten what I was going to say. Yeah, so that's
so much, isn't there, when you're starting out? There's so much to think about.
I know, I had it in my head and it's gone, but that holistic support is just as important as having a legal person on the team or an accountant on the team, and making sure that you're giving that holistic support to celebrate the organisation and the individual's achievements, give them a pat on the back, because sometimes that can go a long way. I know that from being a mentee with people. Sometimes you just need someone to give you a bit of validation, say you're doing really well. And that is an important role just as much as, yeah, I'm happy to sign off the accounts as a group. That's another thing I want to mention. Signing things off is quite scary, but you're not doing it alone. You're doing it as a team. That's why you need a group of trustees. It doesn't just rely on one person. Yeah, you've got the responsibility to read it and check it, but at the end of the day, you're all agreeing together. So making sure you're having those debates and discussions. It's a supportive network. It's not just relying on you to say, yeah, I'll sign that, I'm happy with that. It's a collective thing. And
that's a really,
also,
really good point about that. If they're just kind of anyone thinking, oh, crikey, I've got to be the expert in this. It's no, you're part that you bring some expertise, you bring lived experience, whatever your background is, but actually everything is a collective decision, and you're shaping the future of a charity, which I think is a real privilege. So
I think that's a really good point that you just mentioned. Lived experience in the past has been so undervalued, but now more than ever, it's, you know, so significant for organisations to bring in that lived experience, either in terms of the areas that they're working in, or from other groups that they might not represent. Like, that's really, really important. You know, lived experience is just as important as professional experience, if not more, because there's no right or wrong. For example, it's your story, and positively challenging things to make them better is important. So yeah, be prepared for a steep learning curve as well. But what I've done with that is I've got to know the sector and a little bit about the funding requirements for Open Clasp. So I've gone on the Arts Council website, I read articles from them about the kind of how they give funding and understand the requirements and criteria of that. So pre-read stuff before your meetings as well. And when you're choosing who you'd like to be a trustee with, make sure you know the organisation and that you believe in them, and yeah, just do a little bit of online stalking, make sure you connect with them before you say you definitely want to be a trustee. Just make sure you know what they stand for, and that they align with you.
Yeah, that's really good advice, and it's true that there's so much information out there that you can go feeling very informed about what the organisation does, but also those values, knowing that you connect with that organisation is so important to set the scene for even starting to inquire about what the role might be. So I think that's really, really good advice. And yeah, so I just want to say thank you for taking part in the conversation today, for all of the brilliant work you do as a trustee, and just to anyone who's watching who might be interested in trusteeship or just want to know a bit more about what it's like, then do get in touch with Community Foundation and the Trustee Match programme, and I'd be really glad to have a chat. So thanks so much, Mandy, and yeah, look forward to hearing about future years, and I hope we'll speak soon.
Thanks, Colette.
Bye for now.